Now you know the structure of the spinal cord, and let's look how our central nervous system works together with our peripheral nervous system. To feel something or see something or hear something, we need a stimulus. So that would be image for our vision, or it would be sound for our hearing, and for our skin receptors it would be touch or pressure, vibration, or temperature change. Let's imagine the stimulus would be hot temperature. You are touching some hot object, and receptors in your skin, your arm or your leg, they feel that change in temperature, they fire, and information goes through the peripheral nervous system to the spinal cord, which is our central nervous system. From there, two neurons carry information in our brain. What happens in the brain is called integration, processing, and modulating. It means that brain collects all the information about what's going on and makes a decision. We need to withdraw our hand from that hot object. For that, information will go down from the brain through the spinal cord through two neurons, one of them in the spinal cord, one of them right here in the peripheral nervous system, and will go to the muscles. Effect organs will be muscles that will contract and withdraw our hand from the hot object. So those pathways going from our arms or legs to the brain are going up, and they are called ascending pathways. So in this case, from the skin, when we touch something, information goes from the first neuron, which enters the spinal cord and goes all the way to medulla oblongata. Here, first neuron ends and second neuron starts. Second neuron goes all the way to the thalamus, and finally the third neuron carries information in our brain cortex, where brain will make a decision what to do. That decision will be carried down to the muscles through two neurons. From the brain cortex, first neuron, it's called upper motor neuron, will carry information all the way down to the spinal cord. That's where the second neuron starts. It exits through the ventral root, and second lower motor neuron goes to the skeletal muscles to activate them for action. So what happens when spinal cord is damaged? When damage is at the level of the spinal cord, especially right here, ventral roots that carry information to the muscles to activate them, impulses do not reach muscles. So muscles cannot control, and muscles become atrophic, they decrease in size with time, and that is called flaccid paralysis. No movement in the muscles. Different type of trauma happens when damage is to upper motor neurons. It means something damages primary motor cortex, maybe brain trauma or a tumor, and that can cause spastic paralysis. Spinal cord doesn't receive any commands from the brain. Neurons remain intact, and only reflexes from the spinal cord stimulates muscles. Those reflexes can cause muscles to contract, but for the person there is no voluntary control of muscles, and they cannot relax their muscles. Muscles are spasmed. Finally, the worst type of trauma is full transection, when spinal cord is crossed all the way through, and depending on where, at what level it happens, it can cause total motor and sensory loss. The person will not feel anything in those regions, and they cannot use their muscles. If the transection happens between first thoracic and first lumbar vertebra, it will cause paraplegia. Legs will be paralyzed. When it happens at the cervical region, it can cause quadriplegia. Both arms and legs will not work. Another condition that can affect the spinal cord is called poliomyelitis, or simply polio, caused by poliovirus, and it causes destruction of the ventral horn motor neurons by the virus. Those motor neurons are responsible for muscle contraction. Not all of them will be destructed, only at some certain levels of the spinal cord, here and there, and muscles will not receive any signals, certain muscles. And those muscles will not develop. It is called post-polio syndromes. Some certain muscles do not develop or do not develop well enough. And in worst cases, when muscle paralysis happens to their diaphragm, the person can die because they cannot breathe or their heart stops. Now let's talk about nerves. What are nerves? Each nerve is just a bundle of axons going from neurons. So, when that bundle of axons is in the body, neck, arms, or legs, peripheral nervous system, they are called nerves. That is a nerve. If the same bundle will be inside of the brain or spinal cord, we would call it a tract. Please know the difference. So, what nerves are made of? Those neurons, also connective tissue and blood vessels. Here you can see some blood vessels. Now you need to know how connective tissue is organized. The whole nerve is surrounded by the layer of connective tissue called epineurium. Inside there are several bundles, and each bundle will be surrounded perineurium. Those bundles are called fascicles. Finally, inside of each fascicle, you can see single axons of neurons, and each of the axons will be also surrounded by endoneurium, another layer of connective tissue. All that is for isolation of the axons. Spinal nerves originate from all the areas of the spinal cord. 8 of them are cervical, then we have 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar, 5 sacral, and 1 coccygeal. You can say, yeah, but spinal cord ends right here at the level of first lumbar vertebra. But remember the bundle of the nerves going down, cauda equina, and other nerves originate from the cauda equina. Spinal nerves originate from the roots. So that is a spinal cord, and it has 2 roots. That's dorsal, and this one is ventral root. Ventral roots carry motor fibers from the ventral horn, from here, motor fibers to activate muscles, to innervate skeletal muscles. Dorsal roots are originating from here, from the dorsal side of the spinal cord, and they carry information from the sensory receptors to the spinal cord. And dorsal roots also have dorsal root ganglia. Dorsal and ventral roots join right here and form spinal nerves. They are very short, literally starting here and ending here when they branch into 2 rami. So those that branching, each ramus is different. Dorsal ramus is small and it goes to innervate some back muscles only. Ventral ramus is large, and all ventral rami they are intermingled. They merge together and branch again, forming networks called plexuses. There are several plexuses: cervical, brachial, lumbar, and sacral.